Before we get into this episode, there's something that might be of interest that I wanted to tell you about. Scene and Herd, who run this podcast, have been asked by Scotland Food and Drink to undertake a strategic review of the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards. Now, these Excellence Awards have been going for almost 20 years and are a huge mainstay of the food and drink sector. But it's time to ensure that they're still relevant. So if you have ever been involved in the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards, or even if you've ever had an opinion about them, we would love for you, please, to complete our survey. So if you go to the On Farm Twitter, which is at @on_farm UK, and click the link in the bio, there will be a tab in there that will take you to the survey, and it should only take you a very short while to complete, but we would be enormously grateful.
Hello, welcome to our latest On Farm. It's great to have you with us as always. This is Monty, Ross Montague, and today we're looking ahead to finally getting back to some semblance of normality, getting out and about and getting along to some events. I want to share with you a chat that I had with AgriScot Chairman Robert Neal. We're talking about how everyone is fingers crossed and hoping that AgriScot in November can go ahead as it normally would as a face-to-face event. And this episode is also marking the launch of the AgriScot Farm of the Year Awards. And we've got some exciting information about a brand new addition to the stable of AgriScot Farm of the Year Awards. So listen out, because it could be really relevant to those of you who have or know of successful or interesting diversified farm businesses. Stay listening to find out more, and here comes Robert. So, Robert, great to see you. Haven't actually been on farm recording any of these for a long while with all the restrictions and what have you. What's been going on?
Well, we've been flat out. Spring work, so we have been in self-isolation really. First of all was all the arable work, spring drilling. We've drilled 550 acre of spring barley, and we are 200 cows into 300 out of calving. So yeah, busy. And today we've just started groundworks on a new project for building a new general purpose store on the shed. So it's exciting to see.
How's calving been?
Up and down. When you've got life, you've got death, shall we say.
Yeah.
Big calves this year. The quality of the silage has probably had a reflection on that, Monty. Good silage, good dairy quality silage actually, and big calves. So, but I think we're seeing that across the country from what I'm hearing from fellow farmers. Big lambs, big calves. So yeah, a bit of hassle. The vets are saying they're doing more Caesars than normal.
Mm-hmm. And the rain, that's been welcome the last couple of days?
Yeah, unfortunately we've only had 3 mil. So yeah, desperate for a bit more rain. Spring crops have freshened up in the last 24 hours. We would love a bit more, but we don't want the floodgates to open.
That's quite funny, because you're not that far from me, and I don't know, we've not got a rain gauge, but we've had, I would say, a lot more than 3 mil. The problem is it's bloody cold with it.
Yeah, it's these northeast winds is the killer, especially for young lambs and calves at night that are outside now. You know, these frosts, -6, -4 is not a lot of good.
Yeah,
we're needing heat, really. Lambs and calves are sun plants. They need the sunshine on their backs. Same as us. Mm-hmm. We're all in a better mood when the sun is shining.
Yeah, and a bit of warmth with it.
Yeah.
So, Robert, it's you've got enough going on here at Upper Nisbet, but we're going to have a quick chat about what's happening with AgriScot. It's quite exciting because, you know, last year we had a fairly successful online event, but we're really excited because this year we're hoping that all systems go for a live event as per normal, really.
Oh, I really hope so, Monty, because we pulled it off last year. I mean, the virtual online event was a great success, but it's not the same as a live event, and we really need a live event. You know, fellow farmers, everybody in the industry, I think, are needing an event that they can go to and speak to people for their own well-being, you know, to catch up socially, business-wise, everything. So fingers crossed, I really hope that we, as AgriScot directors and everybody involved, can pull it off. My only worry is what's happening around the world. You know, India at the moment, that's really concerning. So a third wave in the autumn would hit us bad. That's on the back of my mind, and I think that'll be on the back of my fellow directors and organisers' minds as well. But we will just cross that bridge when we come to it.
It is looking like by November we could be there, and we should be there by November.
Well, I hope so. I certainly hope so. And I think at some point the nation or the country, we're going to have to get on with it, and we're going to have to live with COVID. You know, whether it's testing passports or flow tests, I don't know. But I think we need to put something in place that we can crack on and organise this event and get on with it. And I suppose the test is going to be throughout the summer, these other events that are going to come on. You know, the Great Yorkshire Show are still planning to go ahead. They're in July. So that's going to give us a good indication of how things are going and what they're allowed to do. The only worry about AgriScot is it's more indoors, whereas Great Yorkshire and these shows are outside. But hopefully, fingers crossed, by November we can see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, it's not been talked about yet, but I do wonder if also, you know, the business to business nature of AgriScot. It's not a general public event. It's, you know, people are there to do business, and for that reason they're maybe, you know, more inclined to be there if they had to be, you know, social distancing or mask or whatever, because, you know, it's in a way it's fundamental to people's business to go and see the latest thinking, innovation, to speak to, you know, people that can offer advice and what have you. They need to be able to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, you've just hit the nail on the head, Monty. It is a business event, and we know that with the amount of business that the trade stands do on the day of AgriScot. You know, 6 hours at AgriScot, they say there's no other event like it for doing business. So people come with a mission, whether it's a new bit of arable kit that they're looking at, whether it's something for the dairy cows or sheep or beef. They are on a mission and they go and do business. And I think it's at a time of year where people are thinking to the future. You know, the summer, the autumn work's all behind them. Cattle are housed, ewes are weaned and tups are back out. So they're looking to the next year's business. So it comes at a very good time of the farming calendar where people are wanting to reinvest, and they seem to come to AgriScot and do business.
We did a podcast we recorded it at AgriScot in 2019, an on-farm podcast. We'll play a little segment of that in now because it just gives you a flavour for what the event's about and the many voices and the many people that come in from all across Scotland and beyond, and all the sectors and what they get from it.
It is the whole industry concentrated under one roof in one day, and it's an absolutely fantastic event on that.
This is our shop window here, so that's why we come here to show.
I'm from County Down, Northern Ireland.
And how are you enjoying your day?
Very good. It's always a good show, and it's free to get into.
Well, every little helps,
Yes.
doesn't it?
I'm here today to meet lots of people. It's an interesting event and it's an amazing opportunity to meet lots of people in a short space of time in one dedicated area.
We can see there's got far more volume in cow, but when you look at these 2 cows on the side,
we're heading through the show site now. It's pretty busy. The avenues are getting pretty clogged. We're just on our way to the main ring, fighting through a gap here. Hold on. Through to the main ring, which is full of bright green sawdust. The main ring is used for a number of different reasons here at the moment. It's judging of dairy cattle, but as the day goes on, there'll be presentations for various prizes, the Arable Beef and Sheep Farmers of the Year, and the Business Skills Award, which is for young people and how they're developing their skills. It's probably the hive and the fulcrum around which everything else at AgriScot spins.
these 2 cows. Great class, great 2 at the top of the line. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Super brilliant. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Beth. I'm Jessie. And we're both 19. I'm from the Highlands, like Inverness, just north of Inverness.
And I'm from Caithness, up as far as north as you can get.
Yeah, we both go to Aberdeen College in Craibston. So just came down for a little wander about really to see what's more to offer in the agricultural society than just what we've been offered up in the north.
It's good to see how everybody else do things, and
I don't know half these businesses here.
all your feed companies, they're more than willing to speak about commercial cattle. That's what we have, so it's really interesting.
Congratulations to the Yates family. As I said, it was a close decision in the class.
I don't know which, I'm afraid, but this was one of the dairy cattle classes. They've just announced the winner, and now everybody's left and we've got the next class coming in. So it's really lovely actually. People take it really seriously, quite rightly so, because it's a key part of dairy farming, and all of the gentlemen and ladies who are leading the animals are all dressed in their pure white clothes. How they keep that clean, I have no idea. But it's a really lovely spectacle to watch.
I'm Ken Rundle, a freelance journalist and long time involved with the Scottish agricultural industry. As far as I'm concerned, it's a great way to meet people. I've been here, an hour and a half, and I've already had about 7 or 8 conversations with different people I know, and I can see half a dozen more I would like to speak to. So it's a fantastic opportunity to meet up, to network, start new ideas, discuss concerns, all in a fairly busy day, but a worthwhile one.
Thanks, Ken.
Bob Howitt, beef and sheep farmer from Fife. AgriScot comes at a good time of year. We're quite quiet. It's a great day out. You meet a lot of people, you see a lot of interesting things, and it's all under one roof. So, yeah, it's a good day out. Listen, it's free. We're farmers, so you're not a winner before you start. But no, it's grown into a huge event, and it's a great advert for the industry. It really is.
As soon as you walk into that Highland Hall, the buzz and the noise is unbelievable. I've never known an atmosphere like it at an agricultural event.
It is that. There's a lot of folks say that, isn't it? If you go around speaking to the trade stand guys, especially maybe towards the end of the day, they've thrived on a real buzz the whole day, haven't they?
Yeah, they've lived on the adrenaline for the day and doing business and sales. They keep saying keep it a one-day event because they physically couldn't do 2 days. So their pens won't go fast enough to fill the order book, as some of them say. So one-day event and short, sharp, to the point.
All credit to you and the directors, the whole team. We've really built up the reputation, the prestige, etc. of the various Farm of the Year awards as well. And I think people really, they come to see that. They come to see that presentation, and they come to applaud and recognise, those award winners. It's becoming a highlight of the day, and it was sad that we couldn't do that so easily last year.
Yeah, so no matter what happens this year, the Farm of the Year awards are going ahead, whether it's virtually or with the live event. Fingers crossed it will be on November at Ingliston, live event, but we're going ahead. We missed that last year, but everybody realised the situation we were in. But really exciting, we've got a new award this year to the portfolio of AgriScot, so we're launching that very soon. And it's all going ahead, full steam ahead, to get these off the ground and recognise the ambassadors out there in Scotland for their sectors.
Let's talk about that. So, it's great. We'll list it. We've got the dairy, which was the original Farm of the Year award. We've got the Beef Farm of the Year, Scotch Beef Farm of the Year award. We've got the Scottish Sheep Farm of the Year award. Recently introduced a Scottish Arable Farm of the Year award. And now we can officially sort of make a bit of a noise about it, the new one that's coming up, which is the Diversified Farm of the Year award. This podcast, apart from giving people a little bit more of an insight into what we're thinking about AgriScot 2021, this podcast really is a launch pad for these Farm of the Year awards.
Yeah, so anybody out there, any feed companies, vets, markets, anybody listening to this who have got any ideas of people out there who are doing a fantastic job in their sector, I would urge you to nominate them. info@agriscot.co.uk. That's all it takes. A nomination, and that is confidential. Nobody will find out who is nominating these farms. But we have got some great ambassadors out there in every sector, and I would love to see them come forward and put themselves in the hat for these awards and represent the industry that they're in and be ambassadors. It's never more important than what it is today to highlight what a good job we are doing on the climate, farming, green Scotland, you name it. There's a list a mile long of credentials that we should be shouting from the hilltops and promoting ourselves or producing food in Scotland.
And that's really what it's about, isn't it? I mean, we're not necessarily always looking for the farm that's completely at the top of the game in an individual sector. It's not maybe about the cows that are milking the highest yields or the highest arable yields or anything so much like that. It's to a large extent, it is about ambassadors. It's about showcasing the best of agriculture to the public and to others within the sectors, because, you know, we want to be shining a light so that other people think, that's a good idea, or that's something that I could maybe do on my farm and replicate. And it's that sort of thing as well, isn't it? It's not just I've got the best cows.
No, it's not. It's as I said, it's ambassadors for the sector they're in. You know, whether it's a new entrant, whether it's somebody farming organically, it doesn't make any difference. It's we're looking for people who are going to represent their sectors and are making a good job and promote Scotland, what we do, producing food to the public. You know, so yeah, there will be features on the award winners in publications. There might be TV interviews, you name it, you know. But it also, Monty, it promotes your business. You know, it gives you a leg up and gives you a good buzz. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of awards. I was the first, Upper Nisbet, Jacqueline and myself, were the first AgriScot QMS Scotch Beef Farm of the Year in 2012, and that was launched. You know, and we ended up going to London and we met Princess Royal. And I did a presentation in front of her at the Butchers Club in London, you know, so the knock-on effects are fantastic.
I guess even if that's not in your nature, even if you're not a person that really wants to put yourself in the spotlight, there must be benefits, Robert, for, you know, you said your wife Jack and the staff and the team, that it must make everyone feel a real pride in what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It makes everybody proud of what they do and what they've achieved. And, you know, if you're a shy person and you don't want to be in that limelight, in that public eye, you don't need to be. You know, you just, you know, a small feature, an interview with a reporter is fine.
I suppose I mean, it is. It's the farm of the year as well,
yes,
isn't it?
That's
So it's
right.
not just a drill down on the farmer. It's the farm of the year.
It's the whole. It's the picture. It's the bigger picture of the farm and what they do. And it's not, as you said, the best arable farm or a lowland farm in East Lothian or Aberdeenshire, the northeast or the Borders. You know, we've got a good saying here in the Borders: it's not what you've got, it's what you do with what you've got, and that's what it's about. You could be in the top of the hills, the Highland Hills, but making a fantastic job of what you have got. You know, and then going back to the sheep farm of the year, Joyce Campbell, previous winner, up in Sutherland.
She was the first winner.
She was the first winner of the AgriScot sheep farm of the year.
You know, Robert, we actually, there we are, we're slipping into the bad habit of calling them winners, because really, we really talk, in AgriScot terms, we talk about recipient, because it's not so much a competition as such, it's an award, it's a recognition, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
It is. It's somebody receiving the AgriScot or QMS Sheep Farm of the Year award.
Yeah.
So it's not really a competition.
No.
It's an award. We think that person deserves that award, who are making a fantastic job of what they do.
But I jumped in there because we were talking about Joyce Campbell as being the very... Joyce Campbell at Armadale. Armadale was the very first Sheep Farm of the Year award.
Yeah. And again, you know, as I said, she's on the high hills in Sutherland, rough terrain, not the best farms, I wouldn't think, but she makes a fantastic job of what she does. And she promotes the sheep sector worldwide, you know, through social media, so well deserved.
Yeah, I remember that being a comment from the assessors at the time, and it wasn't all to do with, you know, the farming as such. A lot of what they wanted to recognise was the image that she and her team put out to the wider world via social media and the promotion that they did for the industry. So that sort of thing was factored into that award decision as well.
Yeah, I do remember I had a discussion with the assessors that year, and they said it was so close, it was unbelievable. But Joyce had just went that little bit further by promoting what we do in Scotland, and I think that clinched it. So
we're now, as we said, we're now on the cusp of, really, this is about launching the 2021 awards, and Dairy Farm of the Year. Dairy Farm of the Year, the longest running one. We want to make a bit of a noise this year, and really, you know, I suppose we want to make a bit of a noise on all of them, but Dairy Farm of the Year, it's time to launch it. It's time to encourage people to, as you said, feed reps or whatever, to nominate their customers. It's time to say to dairy farmers, put themselves forward. You family in the dairy sector, what's happening there just now, and why should they put themselves forward for for awards?
Well, we've highlighted it about all the awards, Monty, and there's never been such a prominent time that we need to promote what we're doing. I mean, the dairy guys are doing well at the moment, but they're under attack from different organisations of what they do, welfare people. But, they need to stand up to these people and show what a fantastic job we are doing. Producing milk or producing solids for whatever sector that they're producing for, but highlight the good practice and welfare of the cows and calves on dairy farms in Scotland. But also, I mean, it really reflects on the UK. But, these awards, we're now launching the Dairy Farm of the Year, which we've pulled this forward a bit because we're thinking that we're getting too late in the year come November. So we're trying to launch Dairy Farm first and get the judging. Gilmer Laurie, fellow director, vice chairman of AgriScot, is in charge of that. And he would like to see the judging taking place on farm in July. So we're launching now, get nominations and go through the whole process. Also with the arable farm is the next one up. Again, we're pulling that forward and we would like to get the judging done before harvest, when maybe arable farmers have a little bit more time, because when the combines start rolling, it's all flat out to clear the fields and sow the next crop. So John Kinnaird, another fellow director who has taken over the role of assessing and helping with launch the arable farm of the year, along with Chris from AHDB. So that will be the next one to be launched, and hopefully we'll have the dairy and the arable all done and dusted by July.
Yeah, because I guess it's the chance to. It's a sad year again that there's no summer shows and what have you. So it might be a good opportunity for farmers and whatever to come forward for these awards when they don't have other shows and that sort of thing. But from the assessor's point of view, I guess it's a real chance to bring things forward and maybe see the farms looking at their best, especially for, I guess, dairy. See everything looking nice and green and silage and what have you, but especially for arable, you can have a look at the crops and what have you. It's not all about how the crops look, but it will give them a better feel maybe for the farm.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, before the combines roll, I think it's the nice time of year. People are a bit more relaxed, see the crops standing in the fields before the combine goes in. And again, seeing dairy cows out at grass, if they are out at grass, they're not all out at grass,
yep.
But, silage, first cut silage will probably be done, grass will be growing, the countryside will be green, looking better. It'll be easier to get some nice pictures, hopefully, of the farms.
I guess actually, on the sheep and the beef farm point of view, whilst we're happy, we're looking for nominations and entries and what have you right now to info@agriscot.co.uk. It's likely that judging assessment of those take place maybe later in the year, and I suppose that's right, because sheep farmers, I'm one myself, your lambs and what have you, you're coming forward, that the harvest time of being able to showcase your best lambs and what have you is a bit later in the year.
Yeah,
calving as well.
Yeah, so the beef and sheep one, we're going to go with that at the normal time of year, that we try and get onto farm in October. As you quite rightly said, by that time spring calves, lambs will all be looking good.
Yeah.
Just before weaning time. That's the ideal time to get on farm, before housing. So that will be autumn.
And you're directly involved in that, the beef farm of the year assessment, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been involved since I took over, I think, in 2015. So I help with the assessing of that. So yeah, I really enjoy that. It's fantastic to see other farms. It gives me ideas. I can sneak away with an idea or a thought that will help my business on my farm without saying too much. And you always learn something. Every day is a school day. And
just talk us through a little bit then, from that directly being involved in the assessment, just a little bit of the process. It's not scary as such. It's not.
No, it's a 2-hour window. Basically, you've just got to take the assessors around your farm, show them what you want to show them, explain your farming business, your farming system. We're not looking into financial records. We're not delving deep into personal stuff. That goes above and beyond what we're looking for. We're just looking for a nice farm walk, a good general discussion, and we get a good feel for what you're doing and what market you're producing for. So very relaxed, and it's just a general conversation around the farm. And I think some of the assessors that we have, business experts, the finalists get a bit out of that as well. It's their chance to pick their brains. Do you think we're doing the right thing, or do you think we should change this system? So it is an opportunity for these finalists of the awards to pick the brains of the assessors as well.
We're skipping around a little bit here in terms of how we roll the awards out, but you're talking about the assessors and yourself being involved in that. The other assessors, and this is kind of across the board in terms of all the awards, the other assessors do tend to be previous year's recipients, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So they're fellow farmers.
Yeah, fellow farmers. The previous year's recipients are always invited to come and help assess the following year. So they say that's a great buzz for them because they love, again, just what I said, farmers love going around. They're nosy people. We're nosy people. And we always like a look at somebody else's business. And as I said, you always find ideas that's going to help your business going forward. And I love it, a farm walk.
So the process really starts, and it starts now. If you've got anyone you want to put forward, you want to put yourself forward, the various awards will at each stage be press released and what have you, and there'll be further details about them and how to actually put yourself forward or nominate for those individual awards. But right now, all you need to know is that it's info@agriscot.co.uk if you've got anyone you want to put forward. And putting someone forward, it can be just as simple at this stage as an email, like to that address, with a farm name and a little bit of background why you think that they might be worthy recipients. The next stage in the process, Robert, the next stage I'm right in saying is either AgriScot directly or any of the facilitators of the awards send out an entry form. Is that right? And the entry form, that's for the farmer to complete.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you're nominated, we'll get in touch. We'll send you an entry form, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll feel obliged or willing to fill the entry form in. It's a fairly basic, simple entry form, and then you're assessed on that, and the assessors will pick out 3 finalists.
What are you looking for in an entry form?
Just a story. Just tell your story, a farming business. Doesn't need to be too detailed. You just got to sell yourself on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any paperwork, brochures that you produce for selling your goods, anything that goes along with it will help.
But sometimes it's not about, I'm guessing here because I'm not the assessor, but I guess sometimes it's not about the person who can sort of write the best story, but you've got to have something there that jumps out. You do have to have something there that jumps out.
Yeah, you do, but you get a feeling, and it's about passion. If you're passionate for what you do, that will shine through, and that's what will tick a box.
Nailed it. That's a really good word to put into this, isn't it? And I guess that's what we're looking at right through the process. If you know someone or a team of people on a farm who are passionate about what they do, if you think that their passion will shine through and be, useful as a showcase or an ambassador for the general public, if you think that other farmers could benefit from looking at that passion, that's what it's about, really, isn't it?
It is, of course, yeah. Passion for me is number one, probably. If you're passionate about what you do, you'll make a good job.
Yeah.
And take your business forward, and that's what we're wanting to look for.
So we've kind of talked about the Dairy Farm of the Year and effectively launching that today, and really looking for people to come forward for that. But we alluded to it. This year we've got a brand new award, Diversified Farm of the Year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. A new one that we've launched, and we're very proud to say that SAC Consulting have come on board with us to help us launch it and run it. And fantastic, the RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, are going to be the main sponsors for this new award. So it's good to have a bank involved with a lot of farming background behind them. And I think Roddy McLean, head of the bank's agriculture sector, is going to be one of the assessors for this new award.
Yeah, and I think my understanding is there's going to be one of the consultants from SAC Consulting on board for that too, in terms of assessment. It's a really open field, this one, isn't it? What we're looking for is, it could be anything. Couldn't it? It could be anything from renewable energy to tourism, I guess. Is that right?
Of course it would. Anything counts for any business that's diversified to make themselves more profitable or stand out in a sector. There's no limits.
So anyone that's listening who has done something on farm, I mean, we're looking at farm-based diversifications here, but across the board, there's no limits, as Robert says, and it's a case of put yourself forward or put someone you know forward now. info@agriscot.co.uk. Robert, this is like what? This is number 5 in the stable of awards, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it
we've
is.
got 4 main sectors in this.
Yes.
I think directors, my understanding is they're probably leaving it at this. This is we've got there now. We've covered everything. Do you think?
I would think so. You never say never. We don't know what will happen in the future. We're always trying to do things differently at AgriScot, be ahead of the game. So you never know. We just need to make a good job of what we've got the portfolio now, and see how we get along.
We make a good job of it because we're lucky, aren't we? We've got some really good partners on board for these awards. It's not just you and the directors that are running these. Each of the awards has got basically another organisation, as it were, facilitating.
Yeah, that's right. So Arable, for instance, we've got AHDB, they're on board. We've got Soil Essentials as the main sponsor for the Arable. And then we've got Beef and Sheep, who QMS have kindly are fantastic. They facilitate and help us run those 2 awards. And Thornton's Solicitors are the main sponsors for both of those awards, so that's working really well. And the link between AgriScot and QMS is fantastic. And QMS are getting a lot of publications out of the awards and things, and stories, case studies out of that.
That's a good point, because again, that just illustrates what happens after you maybe, if you're successful in these awards. It's bodies like QMS who are there after all to tell the story of good practice and shine a light on the best of the industry. They benefit, don't they? Because they can use these people these farms as case studies and what have you in the press and things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even been open days on some of the award recipients as well. So you never know what comes around the corner. So the new award, the Diversification Award, SAC are the partners with AgriScot to run this new award. And as I said before, RBS are the main sponsors for that award. And Dairy Farm of the Year, we've got Guillermo Laurie, who is a fellow director and vice chair of AgriScot, also represents the Scottish Dairy Cattle Association, who they help along with the Dairy Farm of the Year. And Ice Robotics are the main sponsors for that award.
I think that's great. We've got the people that we need to help to run this, so it doesn't A, just all fall on you and your directors, but B, it kind of gives the credibility of having the proper organisations involved. And we're so grateful to the sponsors, aren't we? I mean, without the sponsors.
We couldn't because it would cost so much to put on, and travelling around the country, if you get a beef farm in Orkney or Shetland, there's a cost associated with running the whole event and these awards. So I'm so grateful to all the sponsors, the mainline sponsors, for these awards, and I hope they get quite a bit out of it as well.
I'm sure they do. I hope they do, but I'm sure they do, because it's a whole industry coming together. And again, that's what AgriScot's about. It is different from the shows where the industry is maybe looking outwards and to the general public. This is the industry coming together in November to really chew over the issues of the day and really work on where we're going and what's new and what have you, isn't it?
That is, and AgriScot went from strength to strength when it was first launched in 2000, taking over more halls, more trade stands, bigger, better event in my opinion, more people coming to do business, or whether they're coming to listen to the Cabinet Secretary in an NFUS seminar with the Chairman of AgriScot.
And do you think these more people that are coming, I mean, they're across the sectors now, aren't they?
They are. I mean, every sector's represented now. I mean, it was first started it was a dairy event really, but it's grown arms and legs, and we're trying to look after every sector in Scotland and representation from every sector.
Just one more thing that I was going to speak to you about, Robert, and it's really, kind of looking to the next generation and what have you. That's a key thing at AgriScot as well, and we've one more award that we probably want to touch on in this podcast, which is it is a competition actually. We do call it a competition, which is the business skills competition. And that, again, sadly, we couldn't run it last year, and this year it's back, and it's coming back strong, and we're looking for entries later in the summer, I guess. But it's all about young people, this one.
Yeah, it's if you're under 26, young farmers, people at college, university, in the sector. You don't need to be at college or university. You could be just left school and working on the farm or working in the industry. But we're looking for the next generation who are passionate and with the enthusiasm for agriculture and to test their skills in business. And this one's got a nice prize fund at the end of it. £1,000.
£1,000.
And that's kindly sponsored by NFU Mutual, who have come on board this year for the very first time, which is really exciting. And I think they can see that we need to look after the next generation and promote agriculture to them. So
you talk about passion. I hope listeners to this podcast can get the sense of yourself being really passionate about this event, Robert. Really, really enthusiastic about the prospect of it going ahead this year. And just really keen to make that happen, and let's just hope that that's where we're going.
Sincerely hope so, Monty, because I'm not a cameraman. I don't like sitting in front of a TV or a computer screen for a virtual event. It's not what I signed up for. So fingers crossed, let's hope we can see everybody on November the 17th at Ingliston this year.
What is it you always said last year? Online's fine, but you can't replace face-to-face, is that it?
No, you can't. You definitely can't. You don't get the same vibes and you don't get the same facial expressions or things that you when you're speaking to a fellow farmer or business person. There's no substitute.
If you could see Robert's facial expression, this is what it's about. He wants it to go ahead. And yeah, let's hope. So at the moment, it's all about getting some nominations, getting some entries in for these awards. info@agriscot.co.uk. And then, behind the scenes, Robert and his team are busy, and it's all about planning now for the 17th of November. All being well, we'll see, 10,000 people through the gates?
Plus.
10,000 people plus through the doors, 17th of November. Get it in the diary, and we'll see you then. Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you, Monty.
Thanks again to Robert Neal. It was great to chat all things AgriScot. It's an event that I'm fairly heavily involved in, as you might have gathered, and I'm certainly passionate about. We really like to push the Farm of the Year awards, so please, if you know of any business that would be worthy of nomination or entry or whatever, just please get on to the AgriScot website or email in to find out more. As ever, just to finish by letting you know that On Farm is made by our team here at Scene&HerdPR and Marketing. If you need a new brand or a logo or a website or a podcast or advice about any type of communications, we are the people to speak to. So that's it from me, and bye for now.